Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 176. Please turn to page 176. So this is our lesson number 193. Problem number 172 is what we're going to solve right now. Let's take a look at it. In problem number 172, all they're asking here basically is the sum of all the even integers between 99 and 301. Let's see what we can do with it. The very first thing that we have to understand, the very first concept we need to understand in this problem is this right here, what is already on the blackboard. It says that in an evenly spread series of numbers, as long as the numbers are evenly spread, the average of the entire series, no matter how many numbers there are in the series, whether there are 5 numbers or 500 numbers or 50,000 numbers, it doesn't matter, as long as they are all evenly spread. And if somebody were to ask the average of the entire series, that average of the entire series is always equal to the average of the two extreme points, the average of the two end points. For example, if somebody were to ask 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. For example, this is of course very simple. There is only 5 entries first of all, and they are evenly spread. Because they are evenly spread, and since there are odd number of numbers, we already know that the average is 7. We know that already, but of course we could do it out 3 plus 5, and you can actually do it out and you will see it's 7. Because they are evenly spread, as long as they are odd number of numbers, the average is the middle number. But here's another way of doing it. Here's another way of finding out the average. It says in an evenly spread series of numbers, the average of the entire series is equal to the average of the two endpoints. Let's find out what the average of the two endpoints is. 3 and 11. 3 plus 11 is 14 divided by 2 gives you 7. Let's do one more. See what we get. Let's do one more. Condition here is that they have to be evenly spread. The difference between each consecutive term has to be the constant. For example, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, and 20, and 23. Again, we have 7 entries here, 3 on this side, 3 on that side, and therefore we know that because they are evenly spread, the difference is always 3, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17. This always goes up by 3. Therefore, we already know that because there are odd number of numbers, the average is 14. But another way to figure out the average when you have a very long series is to do this. Take the average of the endpoints. 5 plus 23 divided by 2, that gives you 28 over 2, and that's your average right there. Let's do one more. This time we'll have even number of numbers. For example, if we had 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. This is going to get a little bit prickly. Now we have even number of numbers. So if you wanted to find out the average is going to be the midpoint here, the midpoint of these two. Average is going to be the midpoint of these two. And they are 3 parts. They are 3 parts, which means we have to break the 3 into 2 parts, evenly divided, which is 1.5 and 1.5. So 1.5 from 9 is 10.5. And that's your average. That's one way to figure it out. Another way is to take the endpoints, the 3, and the 18, and divide by 2. 3 plus 18 is 21, and 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. That's the concept that we're going to use here to find the average of the entire series. Because this is a very long series. What they're giving us is a very long series. But the quicker way to figure out the average is very simple. It only takes 2 seconds. You take the 2 endpoints. Where does our series begin? We have to pay attention. Where does our series start? It says what's the sum of the even integers from 99 to 301. from 99 to 301, we have to ask ourselves, where does our series start and where does it end? Our series begins at 100, 100, 102, so on and so forth, and the very last entry is going to be 300, because we're looking at even integers. So the average of the entire series, average is going to be the endpoint, 100 plus 300 over 2, the average of the series is 200. Average of the series is 200. Now, all we have to figure out is how many entries there are in the series. Once we know the number of entries and we know the average of the series, we can figure out the sum. We can figure out the total. Very simple. Let's find out how many terms there are. The average is 200. Let's figure out how many terms there are. So how many are there? From 99 to 301, how many even integers are there? How many are there? That's the question. Well, we know we know that 1 to 100, there are 100 integers, obviously, from 1 to 100. Half are going to be odd, and half are going to be even. That's nothing startling, that's nothing earth-shattering, that's a very simple concept. Therefore, it stands to reason that if there is 1 to 100, if there are 100 integers, it stands to reason that from 101 to 200, the same exact thing will apply. From 101 to 200, there are 100 integers. Half of them are even, half of them are odd. So that's 50 so far. That's 50 even numbers. Similarly, from 201 to 300, it's going to be the same thing. Half even, half odd. 50 of them are going to be even, 50 of them are going to be odd. So half even, that's another 50. So far we have 50 plus 50, plus, we mustn't forget, we have to pay attention, plus we have one more, because our series begins at 100, not 102. Let me put this in a proper handwriting here. Our series begins at 100, not 102. See, this counting that we did, it starts with 101. Question is, how many integers are there from 101 to 200? Answer is there are 100 integers from 101 to 200. Half of them are even, half of them are odd, which means we started counting from 102. 102 was our first entry. Our first entry is not 102, our first entry is 100, because we are going from 99. So we have 50 in this part, we have 50 here, plus one more. All together we have 101 entries. Now we know how many numbers there are. We multiply the number of numbers in a series by its average, and that should be the total, because that's how we find the average. Let's do it on the top. How do you find the average? Average is equal to the total divided by the number of numbers, which implies that total must equal the average times the number of numbers. We already know what the average is. Average is 200. Average we found out a little while ago was 200. Which was very easy. To figure out the average of this series is like this. Only takes 2 seconds. The average of the 100 and 300. Average of 100 and 300 is 200. And now we know there are 101 entries. Voila. Which I'm going to write this 200 times 101, which I'm going to write that as 101 times 2 times 100. Because you see 2 times 100 is going to give you 200. 101 times 2 is simply 202 times 100, which means you stick 2 zeros. And that's it, we're done. That's our answer. 20,200. 20,200 is the total, is the sum of all the integers, all the even integers that lie between 99 and what was it, and 301, and that's all. The answer is 20,200, which is answer choice B. Answer is B. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.